All right, there's been way too much of a build-up for this video. Like, way too much. This is supposed to be what your first pen show is like. Is it? Is this really it? Is this what it's supposed to be like? It's like this? I don't know. Anyway, you know what? All right. A year ago, I went to this amazing show in Philadelphia because it's a great show in a lot of ways. And I bought this pen here. There. Then, yeah, you've seen this before. But what a pen. And by the way, here you go, right? I did this, when I was in the mind to do it a few days ago. I love that little thing here, right? This, I love that. Anyway, so like this is a thing I did, and yeah, this is about like what a pen show really is. What is a pen show? What can you expect for your first pen show or your next pen show or your last a pen show period? It's really weird. Everybody's got a different angle on this. I've seen a bunch of different videos. I've got my own perspective on this. I've seen some videos recently that were talking in very specific terms about the experiences that people had. Like, it's not necessarily what it is for everybody. Yeah, what you're gonna let me just say this: a pen show is a weird mix of things. It's a trade show. It's if that's for the modern stuff. It's a flea market of the highest order for the vintage stuff, and it's a convention for a bunch of nerds who care about this stuff in the first place. And you get the choice, right? If you have enough, experience and connection with other people to decide whether or not you want to go off into another zone and play with other people outside of that pen space. But you know what? If you're new to it, it's worth visiting. By the way, I made that and this recently, very recently, with this pen here, which I got for a pretty good price in Philadelphia last year. 1 year ago. I'm hoping to get there this year. I'm winging it. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. But okay, so this is supposed to be your first pen show, right? Does this right? Oh yeah. Well, that's crazy. Let's make that that's supposed to be a Y. Pretend it is. All right, we can make a better Y than that, maybe, right? Right. You're new. Yeah, right. Oh, this is crazy. Here we go. There you go. And then show, right? Big show. In real life, this is better than it looks here. I mean, we've got, the lighting here is not very good. The experience is good. The writing is, the writing is good. The lighting is bad. Writing good, lighting bad. Anyway, so what are you looking for in a pen show? Well, here's the deal. It's kind of like being at a coin show. If you're into antiques, I'm into antiques. That's where I come from. That's my vantage. It's speed dating. You're speed dating with these beautiful objects from a million years ago. And that's what you're looking for. That's what I'm kind of into. Now, there's a whole protocol of like who can play with what pen in what way, and how you're not going to make the owner of the pen at the table upset because of what you're doing with it. Look, that's the flea market part, okay? This is a convention, a flea market, and a trade show. If you're into the new stuff, you'll know who to pursue, right? You're going to be like, oh yeah, those guys who make those pens with those crazy, whatever kind of, pen bodies that they make. I mean, it's not even so much about the nibs, right? Unless they hand tune them, which is fine. That's actually good. That's what you want. But anyway, that's what's so great about vintage pens, is that one of the things anyway, the nibs are so personal. I'm random, I know. Here you go, vintage nibs. Here's the thing. What I would do is this. I would figure out what it is that you want from pens. I'm into the vintage stuff. If you're watching this, you're probably into vintage yourself. It is partly about the nibs. That's hugely a part of it. They're all hand finished. They're all different, every single one. But it's more than that too. It's that these things were made at a time when nobody knew how to make them badly. It was hard to do it. They also needed to justify why they were worth the expenditure. They were expensive, and they had to, prove why they were worth it by making a better product. It's complicated. It's a great story. And I would just get into, like, why do you care about this in the first place? What are you trying to get out of it? Find what you want, look for it, get some rest, save up some money, get a vague idea of a budget, dive into it, realize that the vintage people are collectors, the modern people are makers of things. It's a different world. So kind of get that in your mind, and then you'll be able to figure out how to work with them. Vintage fountain pens are a lot like a cross between Baroque musical instruments and early cars, race cars. I mean, it's a fascinating place. They embody so much of the same idea of craftsmanship and how things are made. The performance of them, that's very important. How they perform as instruments. It's not just a tool. These things are very precise. They do magical things. And I would just say, kind of get in touch with that idea. Try to figure out what it is that you're looking for when you go to a pen show, and also try to try to figure out what you want in terms of performance if you're writing with it. I think it's an important thing that we should pursue. Collectors are great, right? They get these really weird, rare things that are very interesting. Look at that strange feed or that bizarre filling system. It's kind of like what early car companies did with their transmissions and such. That's great. I love that. We all love that. But there's also an aspect of actually using the pens. That's not to say that you're going to take a rare thing and play with it when you shouldn't. But it's to say that you should, I think, strike a balance. I think you should. I think you should strike a balance between collecting rare stuff and things that are hard to find and are beautiful and clever and bizarre, and also things that are just really fun to use and perform really well as instruments. And that's what these do, And I'm trying, by the way, to get to the Philadelphia Pen Show. God, that's only a couple days away, isn't it? Sheesh. But hold on, I've got a couple more pens here that I was going to show you that are one of them is a pen that I got in Philadelphia last year. You've seen this before, I think. All right, this is Wolfie. Roar. wolf pen. I love it. My wolf pen. Yeah. But I love his teeth, and I'm kind of zoomed in a little bit too close. Hold on. That might be better, yeah. But it's so cool. But these are such great pens. I mean, you just, if you kind of spend the time and you know who to talk to, and I can make some recommendations for you if you want. But listen, some people who can get some great pens for you, or just ask me what you're looking for. I can hook you up with some great stuff. Let me know, because it's really about how these things perform, and how they're set up and cleaned up and restored, and I love it. Like this pen here, right? This is Wolfie. I haven't used Wolfie in forever, and it has an artist nib, which is amazing. Rare. Clean this thing off here. I spilled a bit on the floor because it was sloppy. Oh, there we go. Cleaned. Good. And let's see if we can do something with this. Such a great nib. Oh, this nib is amazing. Oh, holy cow. It's so soft. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, this is a great pen. Here's the thing, you've got to get a sense of like what's safe and good for pens, and how to use them, and the rapport you have to develop with somebody who is basically a collector who's willing to sacrifice some pens from that person's collection if you're doing the vintage thing. And you have to you can't just post a pen immediately. You've got to talk to the person. Say, hey, can I put the cap on the end here? Is that safe? Is it okay? Sometimes it's not. If it's a dual fold from the 1920s and it's made of hard rubber, it's before the permanent pens. That's not a good idea. You shouldn't do that. You may not know that if you're new to these pens, but that's what I'm saying. You've got to kind of get a sense for. Before I do that, all right, hold on. It's okay over here. But you have to do that. You have to kind of get a sense of what's safe and what isn't. And you've got to have those conversations with those folks who make these things happen, or not, right? Here we go. Does that work? Yeah, it's falling over. No, don't do that. All right, over here. Does that work? Okay, that's not bad. Now you might be saying to yourself, that looks terrible. It's because I haven't done that. That's why. But this is a 1930s artist nib right here. You just have to spend the time, just get into it, just sort of relax and dive into it. It's expensive to do these things, right? Figure it out. Get your budget figured out. If you're gonna have to do some wheeling and dealing to pay for your weekend, do that before you make the commitment. But it is that. It's figure out what you want. Figure out what you're willing to sacrifice to do it. And sometimes it's just really about having a good time with some folks. Sometimes it's about going beyond that. Sometimes people who are not just in that place, but a little bit beyond that place. And maybe you don't want to spend all your time with the same folks. Sometimes you might. You never know. It depends on the situation. But you have to feel it out. You have to know which questions to ask. You have to that's what you have to do. You have to figure out what is worth getting to know. This is, by the way, what is this? This is a swan of some kind that I got at the end of last summer. Great pen. I love this thing. A 4672 LSF, I guess. Is that what that is? I think it is. Great pen. Really nice nib. It's got a very early feed. Cool pen. This is just an example of what it's like to say, I'm going to open up my mind to a thing and just allow something to happen. You know, I wasn't necessarily looking for this pen. That's part of the fun of all of this, is just kind of letting a thing happen. Just, you know, remain open-minded. Try something a little bit different. You know, maybe you didn't really expect this to happen. You know, maybe you didn't even want it to happen. It's kind of like you go for a walk. It's a nice August day, and you go for a walk in the late afternoon, because you have one of those rare moments where you can do that. And you go for a walk, and there's this absolutely adorable little kitten. Okay, it's a kitty cat. Oh my goodness, was that kiting? Anyway, and then it runs up, making little mewing sounds up your leg and looking adorable and saying, hey, I chose you. I'm adorable, and you can't resist my cuteness, because I'm a kitty, and I'm adorable, and I'm running up your leg. Oh, you know. And then you have no choice but to fall in love with it. It's kind of what happens with a lot of these pens. And this is not something that anybody really wants to hear. They're like, no, help me, resist. Help me avoid spending too much money. Well, you can't help but spend the money. You can't help but fall in love with these pens. And I would just say, figure out why you're into this. Just start to figure that out. Oh, this has to get dipped again. Hold on. This is a cool pen. I bought this for a reason. It needs to get dipped more deeply or thoroughly here to write properly. But yeah, sometimes it's beyond what you expect, what you hope for, what you imagine. That's the best part. The best part is going beyond that. Oh yeah, that's great. The best part is going beyond. I think the thing to do is to ask questions, to look at what you find attractive in a pen in the first place. You use it the way you do. You feel the way you do about it. This is a great nib. I liked this when I bought it. I was like, I like how it feels. It's a good nib. And that's why I bought it. That's part of the thing. So, be respectful, ask questions. Don't just, grab the pen. But go for these interesting vintage nibs if you can. Spend some time, if you haven't yet, playing with how good dip nibs work. Once you get that, you'll get a sense of how to use these pens. Yeah, this is a great nib. That's a great pen. Anyway, yeah, just learn about or ask questions about what it was like to use these pens at the time, why they were made, what's great about them as user pens, what some of the fancier versions are really exciting and worth collecting for or about. That's badly constructed. But the idea is, why do we bother with those? Because they're the fancy version of the thing that worked really well in the first place. And these pens work really well. So, yeah, get to a pen show. It's worth it. Ask me questions. We've all got answers. We all have perspectives. They're all a little bit warped and personal. But I think we're all smart enough to extrapolate and make the sense out of the biases that we all have. And yeah, I hope to see you in Philadelphia, I think, in a couple of days if I do it after all. And certainly if I don't do that, whatever show I do after that, you guys are the best. Thank you so much for joining me in this journey, as they say. And how fun is this? Yeah, I love it. Over.